Avoid moving to St. Cloud, Florida unless you can handle these 10 facts. If you follow my channel or have seen any of my previous videos, you know I love living life in the Central Florida area. And in fact, I personally call St. Cloud home and I have done since 2013. But let's be honest, it's not for everyone. So if you're thinking about moving to St. Cloud, Florida, here are 10 things you are going to want to know. I'm not one to sugarcoat things, so let's keep it real. I'm not going to talk about the hurricanes we get or the fact that it gets so hot and humid in the summer months. I'm sure most of you probably already know that. I'm also not going to talk about cost of living or politics because that's a whole other video. I'm going to give you some dirt on St. Cloud, and by the end of this video, if you can handle what's on that list, then give me a call. I'm a licensed realtor and I've lived in Central Florida since 2005. My team and I would be so happy to help you and your family find your next home. Seriously, reach out. My info is right there. Okay, so first on the list, and it might be the one that throws me off the most because it's not like we're that different from other cities, is the animals and the wildlife. It seems every week I get asked about the wildlife and the bugs here, and I'm shocked how many people don't know about alligators or think that we just have like poisonous snakes running around everywhere. Now, St. Cloud has a lot of lakes and retention ponds. It can be so pretty to look at. But it's also a well-known rule of thumb that if you see a body of water, there's probably an alligator in it. So we're not swimming in retention ponds or hanging out on the banks of lakes. Now, every now and again, you can see a gator hanging out on the bank, but for the most part, they just stay in the water. Now, keep in mind the average gator we're talking about here is like 3 to 5 feet. So we're not talking like Jurassic Park sizes. Florida does have a few species of snakes, but I've only ever seen like 2 or 3. And if you really wanted to see some of the varieties of snakes here in the area, I recommend checking out Reptile World Serpentarium right here in St. Cloud. Now, I promise I'm not trying to scare you off living here, but we are a subtropical climate, and that means we are going to have bugs, especially mosquitoes. There's all kinds of memes out there making fun of mosquitoes in the South, and it's all fun and games until you experience it for yourself. They're really only a problem when you have standing water around, which, given the number of lakes and ponds here in St. Cloud, you could see that could be an issue. The odd thing about mosquitoes is that they tend to like some people more than others. I've been on camping trips with friends where we're having a fire and watching the sunset, and FYI, mosquitoes are the worst at sunrise and sunset. And one person is fine, but the other person cannot put on enough bug spray to try and fend them off. And I can't forget to tell you about the wasps, roaches, and love bugs. Love bugs are an absolute menace to society. They swarm and fly around just doing their thing, and they end up splattered on the front of your car, and they are so acidic, so if you don't wash them right off, it will literally eat through the paint on your car. Roaches are another really common pest here and can get out of hand very quickly. I've been in a few vacant homes for showing where you just open the door and the floor is literally moving with roaches. Thankfully, that's an extreme scenario, but having your home treated regularly by a licensed pest control company should keep the bugs at bay. If you guys have any good St. Cloud or even Florida stories or experiences, leave them in the comments for me. Good, bad, or ugly. I love reading the comments. So next is big houses or maybe lack of. I've lived in Florida since 2005 and I always thought 24 to 2,500 square foot homes are pretty decent size. I mean, that's pretty average, middle of the road, but I have people coming from up north, primarily colder areas, moving here and talking about downgrading from their 4,000, 5,000 square foot homes. I'm like, we don't have that here. Well, we do, but it's just not that common. The only thing I can put together is that based on the seasons or that you have basements that can be finished to give more square footage. We have a really high water table in Florida, which means basements just aren't a feasible thing. You dig 5 or 6 foot down and you have a swimming pool. We also spend a lot of time outdoors because 12 months of the year there are always things to do. Concerts, beaches, fishing, theme parks, golf, the list goes on and on, but we just tend to get out of the house all year round. The next thing that you might not have heard anyone say is that St. Cloud is dated or behind on the times. St. Cloud was founded in 1909 and the bulk of the city was built out in the 80s and 90s, and it still gives off some of those vibes. It's not uncommon to see overhead power lines in neighborhoods or older homes that have been added onto or remodeled but not in a modern way. Part of St. Cloud's charm was always that it was very mom and pop. It was thriving but in its own way with small businesses and a ton of local influences and not necessarily chain operations, but that is changing. If you like the newer modern homes, you have to look outside of city limits to the new communities being built. And that way you can have a lot of choice, but if you want to be in city limits in the downtown State Streets area, be prepared to buy an older home and put your touches on it. So piggybacking off that last one, If you're looking to buy an older home or even a new build, understanding home maintenance while living in Florida is a must. The weather and pests here will impact your home, and you need to keep both of them out. Protecting your home from rain, humidity, and critters starts with sealing it all in from the outside elements, keeping up with your roof, sealing windows, and all potential gaps where critters or rain can get in. If you can learn this, you will be ahead of most homeowners here, and if you aren't from here, you need to know. Keeping up with your lawns and landscaping is no joke. Budget for a landscaper is around $150 a month, or roll up your sleeves because it is a weekly chore in the summers. The rain makes everything grow. Cutting the grass, picking weeds, trimming bushes. It's a regular thing here, and it's always a juggling act of how much to water things because the heat is so intense in the summer and plants need watering, but then it rains and you don't need to water them. And it's like one day your plant is wilting because the sun's drying it out, and the next day it's almost drowning from too much water. I'm married into a farming family, and unfortunately I don't have the greenest of thumbs, but I'm trying to keep all my plants alive and happy. Now back to some fun. It's exhausting living in Central Florida because there's just so much to do, and St. Cloud is the perfect base to enjoy everything that's on offer here. My calendar is jam-packed all year round. Every Friday we have a discussion as a family as to what we're going to do that weekend, and it is always something different. While it still is Florida and you can come here to retire and choose a quiet, peaceful life that's slow paced, but that's not what we're known for. It's booming and it begs you to get out of the house and do things. I always say St. Cloud is a city where you can live by design and choose your lifestyle. The last thing you need to know about St. Cloud is the traffic. This is a hot topic and a very sore spot with current residents. Our city is growing and the roadways have not been keeping up. You need a car to get around because we have very limited public transportation other than 1 or 2 bus routes. Plus all the new neighborhoods and new residents St. Cloud has, it just means there is a lot of traffic here. You know what? I am going to talk about the weather. Let's talk about the storms. And when it rains, it really rains. And when you experience your first thunderstorm with a really close lightning strike, it can scare the pants off of you. But after a while, you really come to enjoy them, and it's a great time for a nap. The storms don't really last that long. These are all very real things you'll experience if you live in St. Cloud. It's not the end of the world, but some of them can rattle your cage if you didn't know about them before moving here. These things didn't faze you and you still want to move to St. Cloud, I'm happy to hold up my end of the bargain and I'll help you find a home. I am a licensed realtor. That's my number on the screen. Give me a call, shoot me a text or an email, however you want to get a hold of me, and I would love to help you and your family find your next home. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and I will see you next time.